guys, LianneJennifer here again with another episode of Seduce Me. So we're on Matthew's route, and last time we thought the game ended. The first time I played it, I really thought it was the end, and I was like, what? Why? There's so much more to explore. Why? And then it was the end. I loved it. So, yes, I'm getting my chair to sit in the right way, and let's start. So last time it ended, and then a woman's voice came out like, ha 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 ha, you are an interesting creature. The voice acting in this game is sublime, so I cannot tip onto that. Ooh. I opened my eyes to see a woman staring down at me with a very sly smirk on her face. I opened my mouth to scream in fright, but a hand quickly covered my mouth.
No screaming now. Too early, silly girl.
Too early? I would say too late. I could only stare up at the woman above me. I still felt weak, not having the strength to move and fight her off. What was going on, and why was she here? Why? Why would you here?
Why do the boys like you? You're unique, yes, but that can't be all that you have going for you.
Excuse me. I'm a very unique, awesome person, so... F you! Rage began to consume my core again. This woman, however she was making me mad. She must have known, as she let another smirk grow on her face.
Ooh, you're feisty. That could be why.
Well, it could be, but I think it's something else, though. Before I could bite her hand in anger, she removed her hand from my lips, standing up and staring down at me from her place next to my bed. I quickly sat up and glared daggers at the intruder, so why not yell now? She was very beautiful, but I left more anger. I felt more anger than amazement. Who the hell are you? And why are you in my room, woman? The woman began to laugh, making the rage inside me increase. I wanted to punch her, but I waited for her to answer. That's nice of you.
How silly of me. I forgot that we demons are not well known of in your world. You can call me Diana, little human.
Alright, Diana. You look good though, gotta say that. Yeah. Diana? Demon? You're a demon?
I am. But I'm much more than just an average demon.
An average demon? What do you mean?
Silly girl. I'm a succubus.
That's the female part, or that's the female kind, like the incubi then? I stared at Diana in shock. A succubus? First incubi, now a succubus? Great. I had now met both genders of sex demons. Diana crossed her arms under her bosom and looked at my body.
Well, you are pretty.
Thank you.
But you seem very reckless. Too reckless.
Well, she's not wrong there. I mean, I let boys into my house, didn't call the police. Things like that. Well, I moved out and stood from the bed, still glaring at Diana. Why are you here?
Oh, I just wanted to see who my competition was.
Excuse me. What? Competition?
For the boys, of course. They don't belong here, and yet here they remain. I want to know why, and remedy this little issue.
Excuse me? This girl was seriously pissing me off. I gotta say, she's not pissing me off so much. I mean, the dad of the main character pissed me off more. But okay. Issue? What issue? They want to stay here, so they can.
Silly, uneducated human. You don't understand the important roles these boys play in the abyssal planes. You keeping them here is practically imprisonment.
I don't know if you know what the word imprisonment mean. For someone who called me an uneducated human, you are an uneducated demon. Because imprisonment is against their will. And to be, well, not to be a bother, but they are here of their free will. So shut up! You have about 10 seconds to leave.
Is that a threat? How cute. What are you going to do? Kill me?
Well, no, but... And if I do?
You barely have the strength to stand, little human. I can rip the rest of your energy out and knock you into a coma. You'll never be able to wake up again.
Let's not do that. Touch me and I'll...
Enjoy every minute of it.
Probably. I felt my body freeze and heat up to almost a painful haze. My mind began to feel fuzzy as Diana stepped to me and caressed my cheek.
Now, you're going to listen to everything I say without any questions. Got it?
I nodded.
Good. I plan to bring the boys back to the Abyssal Plains. Why? So that I can take my place as queen of their realm. They have no reason to be here in this silly little world, so I'm going to make sure they return home. Okay, Pumpkin?
Well, I would like to say no, but I don't get the option to, probably. I nodded, but growled. My rage couldn't be concealed, despite the hold I was under. That's cool. You evil bitch. That's so cool.
Call me evil all you want, dearie. I'm not evil. You're just in my way.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes plans don't line up. And, yeah, I don't think she's evil yet. I don't know what she's going to do. I felt Diana lean into my ear and whisper, making me unconsciously shiver in both pleasure and annoyance. Well, that must be a weird feeling.
Now, be a good little human and go to bed. I'll make sure they're gone before you get home tomorrow from school, so make sure to say goodbye in the morning.
I felt my body move on its own to lay in bed and cover itself with my bedsheet. I glared at Diana the entire way down. Diana laughed at my futility. I'll get you.
Oh, please do.
Oh! Now, I would call that evil. Oh, I like the purple though. All of a sudden, her voice deepened and became cold and demonic, sending a violent scare shiver down my spine. Her red eyes practically illuminated in the darkness of my room as she glared at me.
Give me a reason to make your life a living hell.
I grinded my teeth, trying to fight back against the hold on me. She couldn't have been that tough. She needed energy to survive, right? I was sure she couldn't have had enough to hold me down forever. Diana then left and returned to normal.
Oh, and make sure you don't tell the boys I was here. I want my visit to be a surprise.
Can't promise that though. Because Damien probably is going to read my mind, so sorry. I felt the hold on me disappear, allowing me to sit up and practically growl at Diana in rage. What's stopping me?
Then you must not care about your friends and family as much as you care for the boys.
I stopped and stared. What did she mean by that? Was that a threat to my family? Diana smirked at me, knowing the confusion behind my eyes.
Let's just say that if you tell the boys about me, I'll make sure that no one will care for you, and you'll be all alone in this little house until the day you die.
No. Taking it a bit far, wouldn't you say? I could feel fear creeping into me. Alone? How could she do that? Yeah, it would be terrifying not to have anybody and just be all alone. Yeah, that's a terrifying thought. The word demon reverberated in my head, reminding me that I was facing off against something supernatural. A human with a shield versus a devil was one thing. A human on her own versus a demon was another.
Have a good night.
Well, don't think that's gonna happen. And with that, Diana sank into the floor through a magic purple pentagram, which disappeared as her head vanished into the floor. I couldn't believe it. I had one problem, and now I had another. Instead of a crazy psycho devil who wanted to kill me and the boys, I had a succubus wanting to ruin my life and take the boys away. Could my life get any worse? I think so. I think so. No, I wasn't going to let her win. She's not as powerful as she looks. I know it. I had to mentally confirm it. She wasn't going to win. The boys wanted to stay with me. I let out a sigh before closing my eyes, affirming my plan of action. No matter what she was going to do, I was going to beat her. Eventually, the morning arrived and the sun screamed at me to get up. Surprisingly, I woke up before my alarm clock once again, which was nice. I stretched out and quickly got dressed, getting ready for school. She expects me to say goodbye to the boys. I will say good morning, and we'll see them when I come back. No way I am going to say goodbye. I scooped up my bag and headed downstairs to the dining room, seeing the boys already eating a delicious selection of food. Thank God I've eaten now. I can make it through this game. The smell made my stomach growl wildly as the sight of food drew me to walk further into the room.
Good morning, miss. Did you sleep well?
Before I could lie, hiding the incident in the back of my mind, Damien furrowed his eyebrow and stopped eating.
She's here.
The boys looked to Damien in confusion while I cursed his ability silently in my mouth. Well, I think it's for the best, to be honest.
Damien, what's up with you? Of course she's here. She kinda owns the house.
Oh my god, Matthew, that was the best. Of course she's here. Damien looked to me, wanting me to explain for him. However, the threats that Diana gave me last night warned me to keep my mouth shut. Well, I don't think I can avoid it anyway, so... Diana. Damien pressed his lips together into a fine line. The other boys looked at me with a raised eyebrow. A girl named Diana came by last night.
Diana? Is she important?
How the hell should I know?
Did she try to hurt you?
Not yet. She's a succubus? The single word made the boys stop and stare at me. I looked to each boy, unsure of what was going on through their minds. Should I have avoided it? No, I don't think so.
So, she's come to try and bring us back.
She must really be desperate.
Well, what should we do now?
Nothing. She'll give up eventually.
Will she?
The boys continued to look at me as if I knew the answer to that question. Damn it, Damien. She said that if I told you, she'll make my life a living hell. She can't possibly do that, right? She's not a devil.
No, she isn't. However, she is a very powerful demon.
Great. Just great.
She's a master of mind manipulation and has been trained in illusion. Unlike other demons who use strength to get power, she uses her charisma.
She has the power to make armies bow to her and obey her every whim. That's why she's so obsessed with us.
I still don't get it, but okay. What? What do you mean?
Well, she sorta has family ties to us. She was promised to marry one of us in exchange for more power.
Oh, well, nice.
She's just some whacked up hussy who doesn't know how to close her legs. She's not a real threat.
That's very nice.
Oh, really? I feel insulted.
There she is again. The boys and I looked around the room, wondering where the voice came from. I felt cold sweat run down the back of my neck in fear, remembering what kind of power she had. At last, we saw Diana by the entrance of the kitchen, juggling a single red apple in her hand. Those apples, man, they are only for people who are jerks. In movies, in everything. Let's give her an apple. And she leaned against the archway. The boys quickly surrounded me, glaring at the intruder. Yeah, that's gonna do a lot, man, glaring at her.
So, you took up a human name as well.
Beautiful name, isn't it? Well, for a human name, anyway.
Diana is a pretty good name. Yeah.
What the hell do you want?
To bring you back, of course. However, you weren't supposed to know that I was coming. I completely forgot about that little mind-reading ability. My mistake.
Diana pushed off from the archway and walked towards us, making the boys step closer to me in a protective circle. Diana laughed.
My. What has the world come to? A group of demons protecting a human girl? I'll tell you right now, she's not that pretty. And from what I can tell, she's still a virgin.
Excuse me. That is private information. And not that pretty? Come on, man. My face grew red in complete anger and embarrassment. How dare she? Oh hell no. Oh hell no. No. I stepped up, gently pushing the boys away to be face to face with Diana. I was furious, and she was about to feel my wrath. I stepped up, gently pushing the boys away to be face to face with Diana. I was furious, and she was about to feel my wrath. You are in my house. You are an intruder. You have no power here.
Oh, really? Do I have to remind you of the power I have, dear?
With a snap of her fingers, my mind suddenly locked up, and I felt blank. I could see the world around me, but I lost control of my body. The boys quickly reformed around me, with James gripping onto Diana's wrist in anger.
You will leave this instant.
Or what? You'll kill me? I completely dare you to.
Don't do that, Diana. I think if we saw Matthew the last episode, he has a good shot of killing you, like tap.
Let me do it. I could use the workout.
Yeah, you go, Sam.
Don't.
The boys looked to Damien while Diana smirked at my blank state. I wanted to fight this hold, but her power held me down.
And why not?
She wants us to kill her. If she dies, then civil war starts in the demon world.
Very good, sweetie.
What happens in the demon world doesn't concern us anymore. We live here now.
The demons will come to the human world and hunt us down before attacking each other.
The demons will come to the human world? All because of her?
You sneaky bitch.
Sneaky bitch. With another snap of Diana's fingers, I was released from her hold, almost buckling to my knees.
Well, will you all change your minds? I assure you, it's for the greater good.
No thank you, again. I expected the boys to say no, but I heard was complete silence. None of the boys replied to Diana, which made me both nervous and fearful as to why Diana leaned her head back a bit, surprised for a different reason.
No. Well, I see.
They didn't say no, they didn't say anything. I said no, Diana, but it was not a question to me. Was silence truly them saying no to her? I looked around at the boys and saw the disobedience in their eyes, giving me my answer. I felt my heart flutter, especially when my eyes landed on Matthew. He kept close to me, glaring daggers into Diana. I could feel that he was completely adamant in his choice to stay. I don't know what, but I was incredibly happy to know he wanted to stay. Diana signed and pressed a finger into her temple, rubbing it gently.
Either all of you are playing a very convincing hard-to-get game, or you all must be out of your minds.
Oh! I did something. I unplugged my music to my ears. So let's see. I can do it again. Okay. I hope that it will still record then. I don't know how that goes. Yep. I think it does. Let's... Okay. Diana then looked to me, locking her gaze with mine as if to read me. I could tell she wanted me to do something, but the boys would stop her. So the stare was... Oh, she wanted me to do something. Huh? But the boys would stop her. Oh, she wanted to control me. Okay. So the stare was her only available action. Yeah, stares, man. After a small moment of silence, Diana licked her lips before breaking the gaze battle and smiling to the boys around me.
Very well. I guess I'll take my leave now.
Wait, her leave? Was she serious? The boys around me straightened up and grew confused, looking on their faces. With confused looks on their faces, as Diana stepped back and away from us with a small bow, flaunting her cleavage. Yeah. Very nice move, Diana. Why the fuck not? Without another word, learn to read. A deep purple pentagram appeared under her feet, and Diana's body slowly sank into the floor. As her head vanished into the floor, the pentagram vanished. At once, the boys relaxed and slowly began to return to their spots at the table, each in deep thought.
She'll be back, but she won't kill us. She needs us alive.
Whatever. We'll just keep saying no. She can't force us to come back.
She can't do anything but annoy us. Eventually, she'll give up.
That's the hope, anyway.
Hopefully. Matthew walked over to me and held my hand gently, looking at me with a smile.
Everything will be okay. Promise.
Okay. I nodded, feeling that he was telling the truth, or at least a hopeful and comforting thought, and smiled back. Matthew gently leaned close to me and kissed my cheek, however making me blush and forget what I was thinking about. The sound of collective chuckles and playful snickers whispered through the air, making me blush even more. But the laughter stopped as Sam let out an oof after a fluffy object collided with his face. I looked up to see Matthew was glaring at his brothers, holding up a fluffy anime plushie. Simon! He and I pulled away from each other just as the sound of Naomi's car appeared. I quickly ate my food, waved to the boys, and left, confident that nothing was going to happen. Never ever say that nothing will happen before the day is over. I avoided talking about the ride back home yesterday, saying that the ride was a one-time thing. I'll be riding with you guys from now on to and from school. The girls seemed very happy. We entered the school, quickly gathering our things from our lockers and headed to class. There were no events to our surprise. History wasn't exactly fun, but our teacher was great. At least he would have been if he was in class that day. Naomi and Suzu took their seats around me, Suzu in the front of me, Naomi beside me. Before the class bell rang and the class was greeted by the dean.
Students, you'll be having a substitute for class today. Everyone meet
Miss Diana.
Is she serious? I mean, don't mess with school, man. My heart stopped. At the door with the dean was Diana, looking over the students and smirking as her eyes landed on me. In that outfit you're going to teach. Okay. She strutted to the teacher's desk, ignoring or welcoming the whispers from the other students before sitting on the wood and crossing her legs.
Thank you, Dean. You can go now.
With a wave of Diana's hand, the dean left the classroom, closed the door, and left the area. Diana smiled at us, making my stomach turn. What was she going to do?
So, history. History.
History.
Such a silly thing, isn't it? I mean, what do we care about the past? We're in the present.
And you're going to teach history? Oh my god, I just had to... Like, what? The rest of the class, including Naomi and Suzu, hesitantly nodded in agreement, unsure about this new teacher, but willing to listen to more of what she had to say.
The present is so full of wonderful things. While the labors of the past are the reason we have many things, it is our chance and privilege to utilize what has been given to us.
Her charm was almost infectious. The class was practically starting to eat out of her hand. I looked around to see classmates grinning and agreeing with Diana. I pressed my lips together as I listened further. I had no choice.
What's even funnier about human beings is that some of the bits of history we hear is either made up or completely biased to one side. It's like a story you read as a child. You hear of the princess and the prince, and they live happily ever after. But what about the family she left behind? What of her friends?
The students listened and agreed intently to her words. I could tell, however, that these words were all targeting at me. Well, that was obvious from the start, right? Who else are she gonna tell? Come on, man.
The original story of the Little Mermaid, a perfect example of biased opinion. Here we have a girl who thinks she can be with this prince, but this prince has to marry a princess. What would happen if the mermaid had her way? What makes the mermaid so important that the princess has to suffer the consequences?
No, it's not true that it doesn't matter what happened to the princess. It's not like that, so I think I have to keep quiet on this one. I kept my mouth shut. There was no way I was going to let her get to me. Despite her being the teacher, I was going to ignore her. There was no telling what she could do if I talked back. Diana looked to me, expecting me to speak, but I merely stared at her. A smirk graced her face. A glare graced mine. I didn't need to fight to win.
It's still something to think about, however, as we think of this story. It's so easy to believe that the mermaid was the heroine. But what of the poor princess? Why should the princess suffer the antics of a mermaid? The princess didn't do anything wrong to her.
Oh. More nonsense. I knew this was all a subliminal message to me to make me pity her. My anger didn't allow any leeway to feel pity for her. How long was she planning to drag this out? She wasn't a real teacher. Diana continued to rave about the injustice the princess had to suffer while the mermaid was in the prince's side. To Diana, it was injustice. To me, it was a fairy tale. The boy chose me. He chose me. She wasn't going to convince them otherwise, and I wasn't going to let her. Well, if they really want to, then. Diana stretched her arms up, making an obvious sexual noise that made some of the boys in the class shift in their seats. Oh my god, I rolled my eyes. Ooh.
Well, that's enough about fairy tales. After all, the Little Mermaid was fated to lose her prince in the original story anyway. It was for the better, though. The kingdoms, I'm sure, flourished, and the prince and princess lived happily ever after.
How can you be so sure? Or not a word? How can you be so sure? Or not a word? Now how can you be sure? The other students in the class, including Susie and Naomi, turned to me to look at me both in shock and confusion. Diana looked over and smiled kindly.
Because I have a hunch.
What if the prince was incredibly unhappy? Could the princess live with herself knowing that the man she married was unhappy?
In that case, the prince and princess's senses of duty would overrule emotion. Their kingdoms would flourish nevertheless, making their people love them and live happy lives.
Another excuse. She wasn't answering my question. So the prince is supposed to suffer a marriage he doesn't want for the sake of his kingdom?
It happens all the time in reality. Arranged marriages happen to bring families together and bring wealth out of poverty.
That doesn't make it right. The other students applauded me. Knowing that what I was saying was right, Diana pressed her lips into a thin line out of irritation, signaling my victory. Diana then stopped talking and looked to the clock on the wall. Reading it quickly, the class had barely begun. Why was she looking at the time? Diana then leaned against the blackboard and smiled to us. I became worried.
You know what? School isn't important. Everyone, go ahead and head home. Take the week off.
Oh, that's so sweet of you, Diana. A week vacation is so nice. The students suddenly began to chat happily or in confusion of the situation. Maddie thought it was a dream come true. Others knew better. Before anyone could protest, however, Diana pressed a finger to her lips and counted down with her fingers in the air. 3, 2, 1. The speakers of the classroom gently awoke, giving us an announcement we would never believe.
Attention students, due to an emergency faculty meeting, we will be closing school for the remainder of the day and this entire week. Please leave the school quickly and quietly and have a good rest of the week.
She used her powers on them. Damn it. I felt the need to stop her. But how could I stop a demon in the middle of a public area? Diana smiled before gesturing to the door.
Have a nice week off. School will resume next week.
Well, I know it for all the things that she could have done. You know. Many of the students flied out, chatting to each other about new impromptu plans. Susie was beyond happy, but Neoma was hesitant. Before he could pack up and leave, however, Diana stepped to us.
Excuse me, little miss. I'd like you to stay a little while. There's something we need to discuss.
Of course there is. As Diana looked to Suzu and Naomi, she snapped her fingers, making my friends tense up.
You two can head home. Don't worry about your friend until next week, okay? If you contact her, she won't reply, so don't bother. If she contacts you, ignore her, because she's just fine.
That's terrible, Diana. As if on command, Suzu and Naomi left the room. I tried to march after them, but Diana stepped in my path, warning me with her eyes that if I followed, there would be hell to pay. I had lost my 2 friends, at least for the week. Diana and I were alone, just like she wanted. I slammed my hands on the desk in front of me and glared at Diana. What are you doing? What are you doing and what are you thinking?
What? Do I not make a good teacher?
No.
I figured you should have a little lesson, so I took matters into my own hands.
Well, it wasn't a good lesson. Whatever you're trying to do won't work.
You really think so, dear? And what makes you so sure about that?
I don't know. What was making me so sure? Why was I confident? Were the boys worth this? My thoughts began to fill with doubt. All of the uncertainties about this whole ordeal began to cloud my mind. If the boys were ever found out, there'd be hell to pay. Was it worth it? What about Diana? What would she do to me? Would she make my parents forget about me completely? Well, you know, your dad wouldn't be that bad. Would she ruin my friends' lives out of spite? In my gut, I felt a stone of confidence try to fight back, but the heaviness of my thoughts began to dissolve that stone little by little. What was going on with me? I looked up to Diana once again to see her gaze boring into my eyes. She was using her powers on me. This time, I was away from home, so I couldn't escape. Or could I? Did I want to? The way she stared at me made me feel warm and fuzzy inside my chest. I felt like melting. Diana lifted a hand under my chin and ran her thumb over my lips, licking her own. Uncomfortable. I could feel little shots of energy zipping from under my skin into my chin where she held me.
Now, let's have a little taste of that sweet, virginal sexual energy.
I watched as she leaned in, ready to kiss me and take my energy. Half of my body felt elevation at the idea. The other half completely rejected it and didn't want her to even touch me. Matthew. Suddenly, Diana stopped in her tracks.
Matthew? Who is...
It then dawned on her.
Ah, one of the boys. Why don't you tell me which boy is Matthew?
I felt myself nodded in compliance. The fourth. Diana giggled in reply before letting go of my face and stepping back.
Really? The child? With you?
Yeah, something wrong with that? I nodded once again, but this time I was partly my own decision to reply. Diana let out a sound that mimicked a cat's purr before stepping away from me.
All right, then. Well, if it's the fourth son you're infatuated with, you should really rethink your romantic options.
Well, no. Diana chuckled before kissing my nose. Don't do that! Where I felt a shot of energy zap out of my body, almost making me dizzy in recoil. Diana then turned to the desk and sat on the wood, crossing her legs.
You can go now. Remember, no class for the rest of the week.
Yeah. And how am I supposed to get home? My two friends left me here thanks to you.
Oh, were they your ride? My apologies. Let me help then.
Diana then lifted her hand and snapped her fingers. I suddenly felt the floor sink from underneath me, forcing me to look down. A purple pentagram surrounded my feet, pulling me into the ground. Whoa! Before I could fight, however, I sank fully into the floor, fading into darkness and shutting my eyes. As I opened them, I felt my silk sheets around me, soothing my anxiety from the darkness that had previously surrounded me. What the? Hey! Well, that's kind of nice of Diana to bring me really home. Oh, why was Diana bringing me home? Was this an illusion? Was I being tricked? Something was going on. I sat up in bed, looking around me. I was indeed in my room. There was no mistake about it. But why? Diana is too strange. What was this game? Was this part of her plan to get the boys back? I was lost and confused more than ever. Despite my logical thought trying to piece the puzzle that Diana is together, the more I tried to solve her, the less I understood about the situation I was in. I was interrupted, however, by my door suddenly opening, revealing the boys with Damien's hand on the doorknob.
Miss, what are you doing here?
Aren't you supposed to be in school?
I furrowed my eyebrows and stared at Damien, asking him to answer their questions to my thoughts.
Diana sent her back here. She invaded her school and sent all the students back home.
What is that bitch up to? Seriously! Diana's playing around for no reason.
Maybe it's part of her plan.
Well, I am pretty sure about that. The boys continued to argue back and forth about Diana, fueling an almost jealous curiosity in me. Damien seemed to be too deep within the talking to notice my thoughts, for he didn't even stop talking alongside his brothers. Why was Diana after them? Why did she want to bring them back? What was so important about the boys that she would travel to the human world to get them? What was going on? I decided enough was enough. I needed answers. Hey! The boys stopped arguing, staring at me in surprise. I held my hands in fist on my lap, mustering the courage to continue to speak despite my abrupt shout. Why is Diana here? Why does she want to bring you all back? What exactly did you all run from? Why did you run from it?
Miss,
Don't miss me. Please. I need to know what is going on. I won't be left in the dark about this. I want to know what I'm facing. The boys looked at each other hesitantly, unsure of what to reply. Finally, Sam pushed Diana towards the bed. Oh, Damien! I said Diana! Pushed Damien towards the bed. Ooh, what are you gonna do, Sam? Making him buckle and land on his knees, with his torso over the edge of the mattress. Okay, I'm getting a bit of weird thoughts about that.
Damien, do the thing.
The thing? The thing? What thing?
Sam, you're not suggesting.
Why not? She deserves to know everything, especially if Diana is targeting her.
Sam's right.
I guess we have no choice then.
I was getting confused. What was Damien about to do? Damien stood before climbing onto the bed with me, sitting across from me on his knees.
We are going to show you everything. You have to trust me, okay? The minute you stop trusting me, the vision will stop.
Vision.
It'll be okay. Just trust him.
I looked to Matthew, unsure of what was going on, but I nodded. If this was the only way to learn, then this was my chance to know. Damien gently placed his hand on each side of my head, gently pressing his thumbs into the skin above my eyebrows. I could only stare at Damien, and his eyes began to glow gold, and energy began to be both pulled out of me and forced into my head. I don't know if I'm happy about that. Within seconds, my visions went black once again. I was unsure of what Damien was doing, but soon shapes and textures slowly began to appear around me. I found myself sitting on a stone floor in the middle of what looked like a fancy throne room. Where am I? I looked down at myself to stand only to see my body as translucent as a ghost. Whoa! I jumped up and inspected my hands in a sudden panic. I was see-through. Why? What was going on?
How dare they try to negotiate with me? Do they not know whom they speak to?
I gasped and ran behind a nearby pillar away from the voice. The sound of his anger and words frightened every bone in my body, turning me into a frightened child.
My lord, please calm yourself.
Yeah, calm yourself, dude.
Calm? They're merely testing my resolve. I have more than half of a mind to send my greatest armies to take what should be mine. They are mere insects in the way of my kingdom's expansion.
They merely asked for a marriage joining.
So I'm to bow to them and share my land that I have so rightfully conquered?
I peeked from behind the pillar to see a large demon, covered in royal clothes, but buff enough to be a military commander. His rage practically emanated from his body as he growled at his servant.
They are willing to give their land to you, sire. All they ask is for one of your sons to marry their daughter, whom I might add is as beautiful as can be.
This is ridiculous! To suggest that I need their approval to take their land is beyond insanity. What makes them think I care about their precious daughter?
Did I mention that she is a prodigy of her kind, sire?
A prodigy?
A prodigy?
Yes, my lord. This succubus is a master of her skills in magic and mind manipulation. She is said to sway armies with a snap of her fingers, despite being as young as she is.
Impossible!
If only it were, sire. This succubus is dangerous, but would be a great asset to have should we agree to this arrangement. The only reason she cannot faze you, my lord, is because you are the strongest demon in the plains.
Is this supposed to change my mind?
I guess so. Nah, don't look at me. I'm see-through.
Yes, my lord.
You are doing a terrible job at convincing me.
My apologies, sire.
Oh, it's so sad. I was lost. I could tell that they were talking about Diana, but why?
Father.
I quickly turned my head to see another demon, who looked like a mere child, staring at the demon commander on the throne. Father?
Ah, Raystrout. Have you finished your training?
Yes, Father.
Then what do you want?
I want to be with my brothers the best of the day, Father.
The demon commander walked to the young demon and gripped his hair, picking him up off the ground and forcing him to look up at his snarl. The young demon, however, looked unfazed.
Arrogance. Why should I allow you to be with them? I should kill you for your lack of respect to me.
How is that lack of respect for you? He asked, right?
Because I want to be with them, Father.
I could only stare as the young demon faced his father. Despite the massive difference between them, This young demon seemed weaker and easy to kill versus the demon commander. Why would this man kill his son, though? Was this commander that ruthless? However, I wasn't expecting him to laugh and release the young demon.
Good! Assertive even in the face of danger. That is why you are my favorite son.
You have a strange way of showing that, man. Strange way. I could only stare wide-eyed as the commander placed his hand on the demon's shoulder.
Very well. Go. Tomorrow, you will show me your training.
The little demon grinned wildly before running off.
I have a thought.
Yes, my lord?
How old is this daughter?
As old as your 5th, sire.
Do you believe this proposal is worth it?
Yes, sire.
Tell those insects that they are safe for now. I will consider their offer.
Sire, are you certain?
Did I stutter? Now go!
Yeah, don't ask again, man. Just go. The demon servant quickly ran off, but as soon as he paced the pillar I was hiding behind, he along with the commander vanished into thin air. What had happened? I didn't get the time to try to figure out that before a demon, who looked around my age, walked into the room reading a book. Is that?
Raestrow, your nose is stuck in those books. Will you not lift your head up from them once in a while?
Huh? That voice! It's the boyos! I circled around the pillar to see a second demon, leaning against another pillar and smirking at Raestrow.
Aren't you supposed to be with your mother practicing the harpsichord?
I am, but I had a feeling that you were in danger.
In danger? What are you...
Attack!
From his other little brothers. All of the sudden, 3 shadows zipped through the room and slammed into Raestrow, forcing him to fall to the ground and drop his book. As the side cleared for me, there were 3 other demons in the dog pile with Raestrow at the bottom.
Get up! No way! You haven't had a break in months from those stupid books. It's time for punishment!
I choose you! Punishment!
Death by brotherhood! No more reading!
No more reading!
I told you that you were in danger.
You didn't lie. I suddenly knew who these demons were. I already knew, man. It's the boys! Even in the demon world, their brotherly connection was astounding. They were merely younger versions of themselves. One of the demons, who I assumed was Matthew, grabbed the book from the floor and opened it, reading it mockingly.
How can you read this, Raestrow? It's all about war strategy. It's boring.
I have to, Zakaru.
Zakaru!
There's only one thing you need to know about strategy. Kill them all. Take no prisoners.
You sound just like father.
Ooh, Sam is not happy about that, probably. I couldn't help but giggle. It was cute to see them acting childish with each other. Eventually, James managed to push his brothers off of him and stand brushing himself off.
You all are reckless. At least we have fun.
It's true. You haven't been with us in weeks. Don't you think it's time for a break?
I'm sure Father won't mind.
But I have to...
I know you want to, Raestrow.
Ah, Damien.
Damn it.
What is going on here?
I shot my head to the voice to see the commander, aged a little, staring at the boys with his arm across his chest. Damien quickly dashed and hid behind Sam, peeking over his shoulder to see the large commander.
Nothing is going on. We just passed by each other.
Then why does your brother have your book?
I was showing him what I was learning, Father.
Return to your studies, Raestrow. The rest of you out of my sight. Do not disturb your brother again.
I could only stare at James gently took his book and, without looking at his brothers, returning to reading. The commander walked past the remaining brothers, growling at Sam and Damien, before leaving the room. Nice dad. The dads in this game. They're awesome, man. What was up with that?
Don't worry about it. We'll find a way to get him back.
I don't know. He's on a very tight leash.
Ezreal, you're quiet. What did you hear?
Israel is Damien then.
He's going to a negotiation meeting. He's going to arrange a marriage.
A marriage? For who?
It must be for one of us.
He hasn't decided who will marry her. It's a girl from a kingdom he wants to take over.
But that's uncharacteristic of him. Usually he'd just attack with the army.
Whatever the case is, one of us is getting married.
I hope it isn't me.
Poor Matthew.
What about Ray Straw? He's the eldest.
It would make sense, but having a succubus marrying one of us means that she'll be practically married to all of us.
Well, what should we do?
Before the conversation could continue, the boys vanished into thin air, fading into a different color mist. They were replaced by an older Damien and Matthew, sitting with each other in the middle of the throne room.
Do you think we should?
They look good as demons. Yes, 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 yes.
I really want to.
I want to as well. Still, it'll be hard to convince Raysturo, since he's the one about to be married, and he's the favorite.
We don't know that, Zakeru. Maybe she's set to marry you.
No way! I don't want to get married.
I don't think you'll have a problem with that baby face of yours.
Ha! Sam. I looked over to see Sam join the duo, crossing his arms and raising an eyebrow at his brothers.
What are you two talking about?
What you doing?
We got into contact with the human world again.
Come on, Ezreal. You give humans too much attention.
No way, you gotta listen. They apparently have stores and books and schools and stuff.
It's true, it's true.
So what? It's full of humans who piss on each other for no reason. They're no better than the devil spawn.
No. I don't agree.
Nuh-uh, the one we were talking to wasn't like that.
How do you know, Zakeru?
Because I do!
What is going on here?
James, you look good, mate.
They want to go to the human world.
The human world?
Raysturo, think about it. You won't have to marry that girl and be the heir anymore. You could be with us, and we can make lives for ourselves in the new world.
Now you're just talking nonsense.
I vote that we do it.
Oh, Eric.
Huh? Oh, not you two.
Think about it. This may be our chance to finally get away from this political nonsense we're stuck in. We may be nobles, but we're still our own beings.
Ristrao is in.
What? Ezreal!
Whoa, so how do we get there?
Are you kidding me? You don't even know how we'd get there.
A simple spell should work, but it would require someone from the human world to help us get there.
We can ask him.
Oh, he'd definitely help us.
I'm not so sure about...
I'm gonna put on some lights. It's dark. It's dark. Oh, my puppy's sleeping. I'm sleeping, my Bissel. I'll put some lights on Bissel. Big.
Raystra, aren't you tired of pleasing Father all of the time?
I am, but...
If you stay, you'll be married off and become ruler of Father's kingdom. You'll have no time for yourself or with us, and you'll be constantly at war with the other realms for power. You'll most likely turn into the spitting image of Father.
Hope not.
What he's saying is get your head out of your ass and let's go. If you don't say yes, I'll drag your princely ass with us. I don't care what that bastard of a father wants.
Come on, Raysturo.
All right, let's do this. What's the plan?
I couldn't believe what was happening. I was seeing the history of their lives before my eyes. They were nobles, and James was the heir to the kingdom the commander ruled. Even more so, he was going to be married to Diana. They sacrificed everything to leave and be together. They'd rather be free than remain in their noble roles. I started to feel a little jealous. They were able to leave while I was still expected to be what my father wanted me to be. How they were able to leave was uncertain still, but I knew I would learn in time. I closed my eyes and mentally asked Damien to end the vision. As soon as I asked, the world around me slowly vanished, and I was brought back to the bedroom where I sat with my head nestled in Damien's hands. My vision began to clear, letting me fully see the boys around me, all with concerned faces.
So, you now know exactly who we are.
Diana is the girl you were arranged to marry?
Not anymore. Once we left, the arrangement was broken. With no sons to marry off, her dad couldn't go through with the marriage deal.
If Diana is here for us, that means she's trying to save her kingdom from being attacked.
That's not true. She wants to rule our kingdom. Having one of us will give her the right to our kingdom as much as we'd have right over hers.
So she's a gold digger!
Well, with a kingdom like ours, what succubus wouldn't want to marry us for it?
I don't know if she's a gold digger, though. I really believe that she is trying to save her country, her part, with going through with the deal. Because the Demon Lord wanted to destroy them, and only because of the marriage deal he didn't want to do that. So I don't think she's a gold digger. Yeah, she maybe wants to rule, but I don't think that's true. It all makes sense. She wanted them so she could finally take over an opposing kingdom. She knew that, despite her powers, she wouldn't be able to fight against their father, so she had to find another way in. That manipulative... Before I could continue, I felt my head suddenly get heavy and dizzy. I gripped my head, mewing under my breath. What the...
I took too much. I'm so sorry.
Rest now. There's no need to do anything more today.
The boy suddenly rushed over and helped me lay back down as my vision was painted in white polka dots. I needed sleep badly, instantly. I closed my eyes and let darkness consume me.